The report reveals that there's a massive challenge in reporting migration on both sides of the Mediterranean. We find actually all over the region, the first response of media to the migration crisis is very much one of sympathy and solidarity and empathy with the victims of tragedy. There have been so many people killed in the last year. But very often that sympathetic coverage changes within a short period of time to a more negative narrative which focuses on the wider concerns and anxieties about the impact of migration upon settled communities and so on. Unfortunately, media find themselves under undue political pressure. We see the rise of hate speech. We see migration being used by unscrupulous politicians to try to make political capital. And we find that everywhere. Media at the same time have a massive problem of their own, which is to do with the question of their resources and their capacity and the amount of money they've got to employ good people to make sure they have time to research the wider issues for reporting migration effectively. So there are a whole range of problems that are revealed in the report. The report also makes a whole number of recommendations about how to improve the situation. These involve, for instance, providing training for journalists, encouraging more national and international dialogue between journalists and other stakeholders on the whole migration question. Certainly it's about also bringing into the migration story the migrants themselves. There is an absence of migrant voice in the way that media report the story both in Europe and in North Africa. So that question of combating the lack of visibility for migrants in this story is one of the major questions. But perhaps I think the biggest challenge that was identified in the report is the need to promote a civil discourse in the public sphere over migration. The problem isn't just one of media who are just reflecting and reproducing hate speech of politicians. The problem is also of the need for an informed, wide, inclusive public debate on the issue. And that needs to be really much more extensive and much better informed. And policymakers, I think, have a responsibility to work with media to try to promote responsible communications about migration, to make sure that people are not responding emotionally and are not being manipulated by political extremists who are trying to use the issue in order to build hatreds between different communities and so on, and to try to promote better understanding, even a positive approach from the community in general about the political, economic, social and indeed cultural advantages of migration. So those economic and cultural benefits of migration, which tend to be ignored in media coverage, need to be brought to the forefront. So the report deals with all of these issues in a very complex way. The fact of the matter is it's no longer possible to tell the migration story in a simplistic and superficial way. We've got to go into it in depth, but in order to do that we need more resources and we need political commitment to eliminate hate speech around the migration issue and to have a much more positive rather than negative narrative coming from the political community as well as the media community. When that begins to happen, I think we'll see a much more rational, reasonable and in the end much more productive debate which will focus on the benefits to everyone of controlled and well-organized migration.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.